Welcome to Americana Archives. Today's headline is Fable of the Mesher. The subheadline says, showing how a girl's little brother knocked a mesher out. It says, in a certain city which shall be nameless, there dwelt a mesher. A mesher, my dears, is a thing which may be described as a moral spittoon, and his mission on earth is to pester respectable girls with his nauseous attentions, and to receive the scorn and contempt of all real men. Now this mesher was an athletic mesher, and for hours he would swing ponderous clubs and raise gigantic dumbbells till he had a biceps that looked like a ham. And this he would feel and say, I can whip any galoot that objects to me as a mesher, so let him beware. And he made a dummy figure of a man stuffed with sawdust and hung it up, and he could knock it out in one round every time. And he cried, John L. Sullivan, I'm after you. Then he would hit the dummy in the eye and feel good. And it came to pass one Sabbath evening, at the close of the service, he stood outside the church door to make a mash, and the yelps and squabs, two kinds of hobbledehoys, looked on him with awe, saying, Look out, and don't try to mash the slugger's girl, for he measures 17 inches round the biceps and 45 round the chest, and can lick Sullivan and Mace and his Maori all at once. And they turned pale at the thought. When the ladies came out of church, where they had been singing hymns and sizing up one another's hats and clothes, the mesher spoke to a beautiful girl with whom he was not acquainted. And she gave him to understand that she would prefer his room to his company, but he persisted in his annoyances and would not leave her. But a little fellow walked up out of the crowd and touched the slugger and mesher on the shoulder and said, A word with you. He was only a little chap and perhaps weighed 119 pounds, but he was full of courage and wiry as a leopard that cannot knock spots out of himself. And the mesher said, Begone or I'll flatten you out. But the little chap would not begone, and he said, That's my sister. And he hit the mesher between the eyes, and he fell down and wept. Then the little fellow sat on him and wailed the everlasting interior out of him, till he cried for mercy and bellowed like a bull of Bashan. And when the little chap got through, the mesher's face looked like a strawberry ice, and he was carried home and did not leave his couch for 3 weeks. The moral of the story: it is one thing to knock out a dummy figure, and another to stand up before the righteously indignant, and one who would persecute a defenseless female can ever have 1 ounce of pluck, even though he weigh a ton. This story came from the great state of Wisconsin, being reported in the Manitowoc Pilot of May 24th, 1883. Thank you for joining us today. If you want to continue to uncover all of America's lost and forgotten history, then remember before you leave to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and remember to like and comment below. And we will see you next time on Americana Archives.